It is hard to think of a world leader who has relished the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic quite as much as Nicola Sturgeon. Prior to the calamitous events of 2020, she was a pugnacious leader who was steadily tightening her grip over Scotland and its people, but since the virus outbreak, she has become supercharged with seemingly no end to her ambition and plans. In Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest, there is an allusion to Lady Harbury who, since the loss of her husband, her hair turned quite gold from grief. Nicola Sturgeon appears to have been affected in a similar way from navigating Scotland through the COVID-19 crisis. She positively radiates energy and looks a full 10 years younger. This is a lady in her element. Yes, the opportunity to grab center stage and hold the media spotlight has been truly grasped with enthusiasm by the First Minister. She appears daily to host her own political broadcast, which she cunningly disguises as a government health briefing. These appearances are used to maximum effect by insisting that the situation is so dire she really has no choice but to accumulate as much personal power as possible. Not only does the Sturgeon show allow the Queen of Scotland to justify power grabs north of the border, but it also allows her to explain to everyone how she is doing her best to deal with the vile English, but that posh boy in charge in evil Westminster is a pain and Scotland would be better off alone. The clear impression is given that Boris Johnson is being led by the nose into ever further restrictions on our liberty because good Queen Nicola knows what's best for us and will always lead the race to the bottom in terms of civil rights and personal liberty. Nicola Sturgeon is grabbing power and influence using a crisis as cover for her actions. She leads a party which in my honest opinion is more like a cult than a political grouping. They demand ever more government power and incite anti-English sentiment. She is beginning to display the hallmarks we usually associate with classic tyrants. Queen Nicola will not be happy until she has destroyed the most successful union in history. She and her bile-spewing cohorts are determined to alienate the one group of people who really can cause Scotland to be independent: the English. In the Braveheart New World after Scotland breaks from the UK, I see a very bleak future. While England will undoubtedly gain financially from not having to fund the crazy socialist excesses of the SNP, we will suffer from having a failed state on our border led by a power-mad tyrant. Make no mistake, an independent Scotland will fail. The huge amounts of taxpayers' money currently propping up the socialist utopia being created there would need to come from the Scottish themselves, and the truth is they simply do not have enough wealth to tax to compensate for the loss of English taxpayer largesse. Not only would Queen Nicola's new Scotland be an economic disaster, but the people would face authoritarian government on a grand scale. Would Miss Sturgeon really cede the power that she has so enjoyed during the crisis back to the people? As per many great tyrants, Queen Nicola is an excellent communicator and manages to make even the most absurd ideas seem somehow worthy of debate. Top of that list is her desire for an independent Scotland, which would then immediately surrender that independence by once again becoming subservient to the EU. Despite the many absurdities of her rule and of the SNP itself, Queen Nicola is a very dangerous and effective opponent of freedom. One can only hope that the same scientists who managed to find COVID-19 vaccines in record time find a way to give Scotland a jab in the arm to make them immune to absurd calls for independence from wannabe tyrants.